And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Friday, February 26th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome on a Friday where we have a weekend prediction of rain, but no drops fell on me this morning, but I think it's just about to open up here. Anyway, a fantastic Friday awaits for us regardless, and we're on the air for Wilson Bank and Trust. David Walden joins us this morning to talk about your investments. David, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
You doing okay?
I'm doing wonderful.
Well,
glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. You always do an excellent job when you come here telling about how the market is, and that I use that word very broadly here, but what you're helping people do is invest their money, and this has been going well for the bank for a long time. You weren't in at the very beginning, but how long you been doing this?
21 years.
And the bank's been here since '87, however long that is.
Right.
Well, what do you got for us today?
Well, I just wanted to, I'll provide just a very brief market update and then talk about, and just kind of give you a few of the talking points we're talking about right now. I mean, obviously, 2020 was a strange year for everybody. I mean, if you look back on the year and you look at everything that took place, obviously the pandemic being the number one thing on our minds, but it was also a very weird year as an investor. One of the things I wrote about in a recent newsletter was, imagine if we sat down in January or February and we had a crystal ball and it worked, and because my crystal ball normally doesn't, and we could look ahead to the next 12 months and we could predict everything that was going to transpire, and then we had to make a decision that day that we were going to see unemployment go to 14%, that we were going to see social unrest. We were going to see energy be negative for a period of time, small businesses be hurt, restaurants, travel industry, all these things. And that yet a year later, the stock market was actually higher, and that ended up being the best place to be. So
nobody would hardly believe that.
I promise you I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
And people have asked the question, that then, well, how is that even possible? And the reality is, as we look back on it, I asked people a couple of questions. One, while absolutely there have been businesses and individuals impacted by this pandemic, no question about that. But there have been businesses and individuals that have benefited from the pandemic. I mean, you think about the businesses that we use, and a lot of the publicly traded businesses benefited. I mean, Amazon, they deliver, and technology, and the fact that a lot of us had to work from home or whatever it may be.
Right.
So a lot of companies, it's hard to imagine, but they literally did better because of the fact that we actually had a pandemic. And so, and I guess the story I want to tell this morning is with there's a lot going on. We got really low interest rates. We've got markets that have rallied back, and investors are looking around. And what do I do next? And and what did the next years come? And we're going to have another potential massive stimulus program hit the economy. What if inflation takes place and interest rates are really low, but the markets come back? And I think the value of having financial advice has never really been greater. I think the idea of sitting down with somebody to evaluate your situation, educate you on what's going on. The reality is, this is one of the few things. You can ask my wife. This is probably the only thing that I know anything about. And for most people, they do their job. They have their area of expertise, but financial stuff can be very overwhelming, very intimidating. And having somebody that you can sit down and look across the table that you can trust and learn more about your situation and make your money work best for you to help you and your family, I think is as valuable today as it's ever been.
So really, that's the thing is how best to make your money work for you. You have heretofore years ago when interest rates were higher, people were very satisfied with 5 or 6% interest. I guess you might have got it one time. It's less than 1% in a lot of cases now, and there's a better way to do it.
There is, and a lot of it boils down to education too, because our industry is not as simple as just somebody walks in and they want to make more money and we just pull out a box under the desk and this is the box you need to open. I mean, it's very customized because the reality is every investment has pros and cons. I mean, that's how it works. And so a lot of it comes down to a fact finding and education part, and then just determining what's best for the client, because the reality is, especially for the conservative investors, it's never been tougher than in this. Interest rates are as low as they've ever been. If you go inside of any bank, you've never been presented with lower alternatives than you are today. And so I think sitting down with somebody who can help you walk through what's available in your options and talk through that conversation is extremely helpful.
Well, you'd be happy to do that for anybody, I'm sure.
We are happy to do that. We've got a great team of people that can do that, and in our county and in our other markets that we serve. We've got a lot of great financial advisors here in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and in all the communities that Wilson Bank and Trust operates inside of.
And I have to ask you again because I can't remember. There's too many of you. Which office do you work from?
I work in the Lebanon main office,
Okay.
But there are several financial advisors in that office now. We've got Damon Bates is the branch manager, Heidi King, Wilson Powell, Philip Staples, and we've got some great advisors in every market we serve, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have talked about investments this morning. There's usually a disclaimer that we do just to remind everybody about what you're going to say right now.
Well, and I'll mention our phone number and
yes,
real
okay.
quick, if you don't mind, and that way, if somebody does have a question, they want to connect with one of us, they can give us a call, and we can connect you with the person that fits you best. 615-443-6509.
443-6509.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, and are not guaranteed by Wilson Bank and Trust, subject to risk and may lose value, not deposit or obligation of the bank. And Raymond James is not affiliated with the Wilson Bank and Trust or the Investment Center.
All right, very good, David. Thank you so much. Another good job, and good to see you, and hope you continue to do well helping people make money.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 10 minutes after the hour, and it is time for our Friday Senate report, and here's Senator Mark Bodie.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
Every day's a good day. Some are just better than others.
That's exactly right. You know, we were just talking. I know we got some rain coming in, but it's still going to be a good weekend. We just got to plan to do some of our inside stuff.
There you go. Well, it's good to see you, and really, it's really nice, I think. By the way, let me back up here. I should have done this. At least we owe them this much. Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender, Middle Tennessee's community bank with excellence in banking since 1987. I usually say that on the end. I forgot to. Now, back to you.
And just to give a shout out to Wilson Bank, you know, they have been very staunch supporters of the community. They help, and they've done so much for our community, and we appreciate all the corporate citizens like that help Wilson County and the surrounding counties.
Right. Well, we are getting ready for a little rain this weekend, and it may be a lot of rain. It depends on where you live. I think if you're more to the south of Middle Tennessee, you might expect more, but that remains to be seen.
That's exactly right. You know, David was talking about how do you predict the stock market? Sometimes the weather's the same way. How do you predict the weather?
Well, I know this has been somewhat of a trying week for you in more ways than one, but...
Absolutely, Coleman. I will tell you that my daughter, and my youngest daughter, she had a very serious car accident on Interstate 40. So if somebody was locked on 40 Tuesday morning, it was she was one that was involved. But our EMS folks, the people that drove the ambulance, our law enforcement, I want to give a shout out. They did a terrific job in as they always do, in making sure that people are taken care of as quickly as possible. And they got her to the hospital. You know, so she's doing much better. She had surgery. You know, Damon Petty's her doctor, and he did a great job as well. And she's going to be totally recovering. It's just going to take weeks of rehab and so forth. But
well, we're sorry to hear the bad news part of that, but are glad to hear the good news as well, that things are looking up.
Yes, and she used to go to the senior citizen center with all of her kids, and she wanted her kids to know that it was important that they give back to the community. You know, whether you expect something or not, you just have to do that. So that was part of her job, training her kids when she would go serve at the senior citizen center.
Yeah, and I remember they came over a number of times a few years ago. Sure.
Yes,
did.
yes.
What's been going on this week? I mean, you didn't have the cold weather to keep you from meeting, I don't think.
No. So it has been busy. We are in absolute full swing. So all the committees are getting full of bills. There's been over 1,600 bills that have been filed. And that means we have to debate all those bills that will be put on notice. A lot of those bills would just go away. They'll be killed in committee. Some sponsors will decide not to run them and so forth. But we're going to be debating them seriously right now. And one of the other things that we're doing is in committees is going through the budget process. And in the Senate, every department has to come and present their budget to not only the finance department, but also to the individual committees. So last week, or actually I got the Department of Ag that came in and presented their budget to us. And one of the things that came up was the state fair, and how Wilson County got the state fair and what it's looking like so far that way. And there's an extra $5 million coming our way, plus another about $250,000 on a reoccurring. And some of the other members said, well, we would like to have that actual state fair. And they were saying, why can't we have that rotate to all 3 grand divisions? Other members were saying, why can't we get it in our county and so forth? So, I was saying, I'm very glad that Wilson County is in the position that it is.
Well, I can understand them thinking that way, but that would present all kinds of logistic problems if you moved it every year, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. But when they see that, hey, that community is going to be getting X number of millions of dollars, members want to say, why can't I bring that to our community as well? So I'm blessed that we have it coming. It looks like it's going to be coming here to Wilson County, and I think it's going to be. We've got such a fair board. They are so awesome in how they do it. They've run it for years and years. We're the largest fair in the state, and this is how I think not only myself but our state reps as well, Susan Lynn and Clark Boyd, had said, whatever the fair board wants here, we want to make sure we're supporting, because for a while they weren't sure if they wanted it or what it would look like, and we just want to support our local fair board in whatever decisions they made, because you can't argue with the success that they've had.
It's time for us to take a break. This is our Friday Senate Report with Senator Mark Pody, and more coming up here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. They have a large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, tractors, hay equipment, and more. Stop in Saturday. Free popcorn. Check out the new Kubota products. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's picked up quite a bit. It's still moving 40 east through Kingston Springs. All that traffic leaving Dixon County this time of the morning, headed towards West Nashville. 65 northbound. It's going to be near Trinity Lane. They're reporting an accident there, but the heaviest flow is southbound, obviously in that area. But the fire department's responding 65 northbound near Trinity Lane on a crash, possibly with some injuries. Right now, teachers and students get 15% off all orders at Donut Distillery, located 311 Gallatin Avenue in East Nashville. Log on to donutdistillery.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
In times of crisis, and especially when you're isolated, it helps to know someone has your best interest at heart. At Wilson Bank and Trust, standing strong for others has always been one of our most important roles, and we're still here for you now. Through these days of disruption and distancing, you can count on us to keep you connected with your financial services, and will continue to provide financial relief for households and businesses. Thanks for supporting our ongoing commitment to service. Working together, we'll weather this storm too. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Randy Salas, inviting you to listen to me and Jake Hood as we broadcast the 2021 Cumberland University baseball season. You won't want to miss any of the action in Coach Woody Hunt's final season at the helm of the Phoenix. All home games will be broadcast this year, weekday games on WCOR 1490 AM and weekend and night games on both WCOR and WANT FM 98.9. All games can be seen and heard on GoCumberlandAthletics.com at no charge, and you can also get your scheduling information there. Congratulations, Coach Woody Hunt, and go Phoenix.
The Farm Bureau Expo is your premier location for an event of any scale, making meeting in the middle easy and accessible for event planners and guests. The Expo proudly participates in the Tennessee Pledge to allow our guests to attend events with confidence. For booking details or to explore events to attend, visit farmbureauexpo.com or check out our Facebook page at Farm Bureau Expo. We look forward to seeing you at the Farm Bureau Expo in Lebanon, Tennessee.
And we continue on this Friday. Thanks for joining us. Senator Mark Pody here, our Friday Senate Report. All right, what's next?
All right, so we had a couple of bills that we actually were debating on the House or on the Senate floor, and one of them is the Attorney General. Right now in Tennessee, we are one of the very few states, in fact, we're the only state that is actually having our Attorney General decided by the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court appoints our Attorney General in essence. And I would like to have our Attorney General elected statewide. And I tried that constitutional amendment, but it failed. However, the next one that they're running, and I think it's going to pass this time, is to say at least let the state legislature have a say who's going to be the attorney general. So the attorney general won't be beholden just to the Supreme Court that they got to argue in front of. So we're at least trying to put a little bit more of the people's voice into who's going to be our attorney general. That will be on the ballot in the next gubernatorial election.
Now, it's been this way for a long time, as it always has. This always been the way in Tennessee.
Yes, it has. And like I say, of the 50 states, we're the only state that does it this way. And I've been trying to get that changed for a long time. It looks like something's going to happen this time.
Well, if you are appointed by a group of people that you're going to do opinions for or whatever, you don't want to make them mad with what you're going to do in the future. I mean, I understand. It does seems a little odd in a way.
Yes. So we want, there's 3 branches of government, and we want to make sure there's always checks and balances, and the people's voices are heard. And at least this is going to be a good way to look at that.
Well, are you fairly satisfied with the legislature choosing attorney general rather than the people?
I would much rather have the people, but my bill did not get through committee. This one did. So the folks at the legislature, it's just a fair process. If I'm not,
is this a constitutional change?
Yes, it would be a
so
constitutional
it has to be
change.
voted on by the legislature, then the people, then the legislature has to approve it again?
Well, it actually has to be voted by first legislature. They got to get at least 50% in both houses.
All right.
Then in another session, they have to get it by 2/3 vote in both houses. Then it goes on the next gubernatorial ballot.
Okay, and then it would be official.
Then it would be official.
So it's approved twice in the legislature.
Yes.
One by more than 50%, the second, and then the people. Okay.
That's exactly.
And so it's kind of a long, drawn-out process.
As it should be. To change our Constitution, it should be a long process. So I do appreciate that. Otherwise, we just see a lot of things that are silly on the Constitution. And the Constitution is important, and it needs to be well thought out and well written. And when the changes come, it has to be over a long period of time. So I do appreciate that process. Another one that we're looking at for the Constitution is if our governor gets sick, who is next in line to be the governor? And in Tennessee, we don't really have that succession plan like a lot of other states do. So that's also was voted on and actually was read in the on the floor, and it's going to be read another time. Then we'll vote on that, and that'll go to the people as well because it already passed last year.
What's the procedure called? What's this calling for?
So it'll be that if the governor is incapacitated and the cabinet will then say he is, then it'll go to the Speaker of the Senate.
Okay.
And then as soon as the governor's back in, if he had surgery, whatever, then it would be back to the governor.
So that's sort of like a governor pro tem then, I guess.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That's correct.
okay.
We've never had to use it. However, it's good to have something just in case,
What's surprising almost to me as I think about it, all these years and all the different governors we've had, that we've never had that situation.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, but at least we're looking at it so far, and it is Senator Becky Massey out of Knoxville that she's bringing that, and I believe that's going to be on the ballot, so we'll be able to look at that. It gives Tennessee that option of if the governor is sick, who is going to be, or if he, he's in an accident, whatever, who is going to be in charge for a while, and that's important. And we just did not ever have that in our Constitution.
Okay. What next?
Okay, so I got 2 other things. One of them is this week in committee coming up, or I should say next week. It's going to be the cannabis bills. And Coleman, when I first came in, I was absolutely against any legalization of medical or recreational marijuana in any form. And I voted against it always. However, during the time that I've been here, I've had many doctors and people come in and say, you know what, for us helping our children with seizures and so forth, and we have to go out of state to get some of this. It makes a difference in our life, and it would be saying, we can get legal drugs that are a whole lot worse prescribed to us, but something as simple as medical cannabis we couldn't get, and so I said, I'm going to be supportive of something for medical marijuana, as long as it's going to be just not like the Wild West or something like that. And those bills are going to be debated coming up this week. There's 2 of them that are competing with each other. One of them is by Senator Hale, another one by Senator Bowling, and one of those will come out of committee, I'm sure, this week.
What are its chances after committee?
Actually, pretty good. A lot of states have recreational marijuana and so forth, and I'm not in favor of that. But for the medical, I do believe that there's a place for it in Tennessee. The science shows that it helps.
Are there any law enforcement agencies or other people that are opposed or drastically opposed to this?
For a while, there was a lot of law enforcement that had came up and testified against it, and they said this is a gateway drug. We don't want to start this. And there are a lot of people saying, hey, this is just a stepping stone. Once we get this, it's going to then the next step's going to be into recreational and so forth. And
that is the way it does happen a lot of times.
That's exactly right. And I see that, and I see the history of that happening. However, I got to weigh that against this is helping. This is something that is literally, I can see the science, I can see the medicine that it does help people. And if it can help make somebody better, if it can help in some of our cancer patients and such, and it can help get people off of some of the opioids where they don't need as strong of a medication. I've just seen story after story of people come into my office and saying, this is how it helps me. I just have to go out of state to get it and so forth. It's hard for me to argue against it. But again, I am not for this being a stepping stone to go into the next step of recreational. I am publicly against recreational marijuana, but I would be in favor of something that makes sense for medical marijuana.
If you had much input from constituents, or maybe ask if you had many people be against this, many of your constituents opposed to this particular.
Actually, very few, but a lot of them were with me 10 years ago when we were all against it. Mm-hmm. But I think we're seeing that kind of change a little bit, and I've got to admit, as I'm getting the education, I'd be more in favor of it as well. So I'll vote for one of them. I just don't know which one's going to be the best. And I'll wait for committee to kind of see. Right now I'd be more inclined to go with Senator Bowling's. And I've talked to Senator Farrell Hale, and his just forms a committee, which means it wouldn't happen for a few years before anything would happen. Senator Bowling's would make it happen a little bit quicker.
Well, if it's a good thing, I don't see any reason to delay it.
That's where I'm looking at as well, and that's why I think that it'd be Senator Bowling's. I've not signed on to either one of the bills, but I'll listen to the debate on this coming up week to see which one's going to be best. But I really think one of them will come through.
Okay, you got one more you want to talk about?
I do. Coleman, this one's going to be kind of a controversial one. And in government operations, we had one of the universities come for some school conduct, student conduct. And I made a public statement, and I said, I have watched some of our students in our public universities that are playing athletes, that are playing ball, and they'll get college scholarships, state money. They play for a state school, and yet they're going to kneel for the national anthem, or they'll refuse to come out in the court for the national anthem, or they'll do things that are what I believe would be disrespectful for the national anthem. And so I said, I don't want to take anybody's First Amendment away where they want to protest, and they want to do it in a peaceful way. I'm all for that. They can do that before the game. They can do it after the game. But when you put on that uniform of the state of Tennessee, and you've chosen, this is not mandatory, but you've chosen to play the sports game, and you're taking our state money, then I believe that you need to stand up for the values of what Tennesseans have. One of the values that we have is we are patriotic people that respect the flag and respect the national anthem, and we're going to respect those veterans that have fought and died for our nation so we would have the right to do this. And so I don't want to take it away from whatever they want to do when they're not in uniform. But if they're in uniform, they're actually representing the state of Tennessee, representing that university, and I think that they need to be held accountable to those rules of conduct. And a good example is somebody said, well, Mark, they're not doing anything wrong. They should be able to express themselves any way they want. I'm a senator, and I can't do that on the House floor, on the Senate floor. For example, I can't go into the Senate floor without a tie. I've got to wear a tie. There's a dress code. You have to wear it. You got to stand for when we do the prayer. You stand for when we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance. There's certain things that if I choose to be a senator, that this is what is required of me doing. Now, if I don't want to do something outside, when I'm not on the floor, I can. I don't have to wear a tie.
Right.
But if I'm in that position, I think I should. And companies are the same way. Professional sports teams, that's a private sports team. They can do whatever they want. It's not a state-run deal. But our student athletes that are in universities, public universities that are taking our money, I'm adamant that they need to respect our flag.
All right. What kind of response have you gotten so far?
It has been a very controversial subject, but I'm going to say 75, 80% of the comments that I've gotten have been, it's about time people stand up and say things like this. And I have some that are going to say, you know what, hey, let the students do whatever they want. It's up to them.
We've let them do that too long.
That's exactly right. We've allowed them to say there are no standards. There are no things. They're the same ones that say we don't have to respect the police. We don't have to do this. And that's not how society works. There are standards that we do that we have to say. We've got to teach our kids. This is important. We have to say that authority, we can question authority, but you know what? When a law enforcement comes and says, stop, we're supposed to obey that law. Now, if they're doing something wrong, we'll take them to court down the road, but give them that authority and that respect that we're going to follow it.
What are the chances on this?
So
at least you've gotten some recognition.
Well, I'm going to look at it this way. We can't mandate that university to do something or whatever, but what we can do is say, if that university is choosing not to adhere to what the legislative will is, and I think there's a big push at the legislation to make sure that this is going to go through, that the legislators are in supportive of this, we can kind of withhold some of their money. Mm-hmm. So if they want a new building, then they need to fund it outside of getting state money. They'll have to find other ways to build that building. If they want to do other programs, they'll just have to find other ways besides having state money do that. So I guess we have that would be our stick.
So we will say stay tuned.
That's exactly right.
We are out of time. Quickly close it out.
All right. Coleman, it's going to be an awesome week. We are in full swing. If somebody needs something, please call my office. Debbie is always there. She's listening right now as she's driving in. She always loves it when I say, just call Debbie. She can get it done. But thank you for being here, Coleman. This is awesome what you do. We will see you next Friday. Thank you so much. Part one of Coleman and Company. Senator Mark Pody. We'll take a break here and more coming up on FM 98.9.
And it's 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford and that regular oil change, $24.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. So far, it's moving here on 24 East, where it's normally extremely heavy here on 24 eastbound. Coming out of Jolt, and that was a one-car wreck up against the wall. It went in backwards there on 65 northbound. It's just up from Trinity Lane. Of course, the heaviest flows on the other side of the interstate there on 65 southbound. Hickory Hollow Parkway at Crossings Boulevard. There may be some minor injuries involved in that particular crash. You never know when you might need them. Free at Last Bell Pines, serving Davidson, Williamson, and Rutherford counties. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
With churches not being able to gather, we wanted to make sure our audience is aware of our regular Sunday morning programming. We call it God's Country. Starting at 7 to 7:15, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country Music. Then at 7:15 to 7:30, Old Path Missionary Baptist with Brother Jason Wheely. From 7:30 to 8, it's The Gospel Show, hosted by Miss Dean. 8 o'clock, it's College Hills Church with Minister Wilson McCoy. At 8:30 to 9, it's Word of God broadcast by Ronnie Briley. From 9 to 9:30, Hillcrest Baptist Church with Pastor John Ferguson. From 9:30 to 10:30, it's Call on God Today, hosted by Brother Kenneth Bowen. At 10:30, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country Music. From 11 to 11:30, Maple Hill Church with Minister Rob Long. And from 11:30 to noon, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country Music. Join us each Sunday on WANT or WCOR or online at WANTFM.com.
Scattered rain showers are in the forecast today, so make sure to pack the umbrella as you head out. Highs this afternoon will climb into the mid-50s. Rain showers continue into Saturday with temperatures topping out in the low 60s. Sunday looks wet as well. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two on a Friday morning. We have two members of the C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty sitting here this morning just waiting for their chance to get on here and talk about all the wonderful things they do and the specials they got for you. C&D team located on West Main Street. Great people, great service. Somebody answers the phone 24 hours a day. They're people you can trust. And so we welcome Miss Judy. We welcome Dana, and good morning to you both.
Hello, good morning. You know, we've got an advertisement, Here Comes the Sun. I think it's going to be Here Comes the Rain today for the weekend.
Well, into each life some rain must fall, and we're about to get ours, I think.
That's all right.
That's all right. The weekend will be over. It'll be good come Monday, maybe.
That's right, come Monday morning.
Yeah. Well, y'all seem to be in high gear this morning. In fact, I don't know when I haven't seen you and you weren't in high gear.
There's not another gear.
Is there another gear?
It just stays in a high.
Ours is stuck in that. It's going to be stuck there forever.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Well, you brighten up our Friday mornings around here, and so you're kind of like me. Some people say they don't know what I'm going to say next, and I don't know what y'all are going to say next sometimes.
That's
either.
a good thing.
Sometimes we don't know what we're going to say next.
Well, get us started, Miss Judy.
Well, we've been talking about the different forms that realtors use and why use a realtor, because the average person that wants to sell their home themselves, they don't have all these official forms to use. And some people try to get them, but they need to be legally done by a licensed professional, and we're licensed under the state of Tennessee. But I was going to talk a little bit about the termite letter. People go, okay, I'm getting me a clear termite letter. If I've got the buyer, of course, we wear two hats. If you got the buyer, there's a set of rules, and if you got the seller, there's a set of rules. When we have a buyer, in the contract, it already states that the termite letter is to be provided by the buyer and paid for by the buyer, and it's their responsibility to get an inspection if they want to. Well, unless your agent changes that in the contract to say that we want the seller to get the clear termite letter and we want the seller to pay for it and we want them to pay for any damages if there is any. Wow. So unless that's written in there, amended to that actual contract, then the buyer's responsible. So we put that in there, but what happens is we always put it that we want the buyer wants to get their termite company to go out and look at it, because otherwise, since the seller's paying for it, unless you put that in there, the seller can go get who they want to. Well, sometimes buyers don't trust other people's termite companies, or they know somebody and they put their termite company, that's their local company that they've got their trust in. So we put it in there for their termite company to get the termite inspection. And it's got to be done by somebody that's licensed and bonded. And they do the termite inspection, and when the letter comes back, it's either going to say there's active termites or there are no active termites. Mm-hmm. And if it says there's active termites, then the seller has to pay for the treatment to get rid of the termites. And also it might say there was previous termite infestation, but it got treated years ago. But there is still damage that was left from that. Some people will buy a house and they find out that somebody treated it before they bought it, but they never cleaned up the damage or fixed the damage. They're supposed to get rid of the tubes that's under there. A lot of termite companies just leave them, they treat, and just leave all the tubes under there. Well, that's going to come back to show up on a letter in the future. And then also, maybe they treated for the termites, but they didn't fix any of the wood damage underneath the house. So if it says there's damage, most of the loans that the banks offer now, there's the damage. If that word damage is on there, somebody's going to be fixing it before closing. So the thing of it is, we want you to get your house ready to sell, but if you're not thinking about selling, you still need to be maintaining your house, because you got to think someday that house is going to be sold. You say, I'm going to stay here forever. That's fine and dandy, but someday somebody's going to be selling that house. Yep. You need to go underneath your house. If you've got wood, cardboard, paper, people put these slats under their house and what do they call them? The skids. They put them under their house. They're going to use them later, or they'll keep a couple extra 2x4s under there. That is breeding ground for termites. And they'll put a cardboard box full of something underneath there. All the time we see it. So if you're not even thinking about selling, go underneath your house, get that stuff out from under there, because you're going to have termites eventually. And that clears that up. But what you want is that letter to say there is no active infestation. And as long as that says that, then you can move forward. And we always want to get those letters done early, because if they've got to fix it, that's another negotiation thing. Your deal can fall through because of a termite letter or because of termite infestation. So you want to make sure that you're checking your house, even if you're not putting it on the market for that. And that's a state form. So, and then those termite people they have to use certain chemicals. They have to make sure it's treated, and it's usually good. Some termite companies, it's good for a year after that. And if you buy the house and you got it, they treated it, you want to get some kind of contract and keep that up, because once you've had them, they're probably going to come back eventually. Yeah. But that's just one way to get that done. So.
Boy, I tell you what, we learned a lot listening to you. Dana, did you know all that?
Yes, I did. But I learned from the best. There you go.
What do you got for us today?
But I was going to talk about, we have a cabin. And, we always talk about that we take care of Wilson County and their surrounding counties. We also go to East Tennessee. And we have a cabin that we have listed in Pigeon Forge, Sevierville. And it is 5 bedrooms and 4 full baths and a little over 3,200 square feet. And it's the 3 full levels. And it's listed at $849,900. So we've already received some offers, but other people are sending offers as well. So we're accepting offers through Sunday. So it's a very hot market up in East Tennessee as well, especially in the cabin and the rental business up there. So, but we have that going on. And also the beauty of that is if somebody from Florida is putting an offer in, then, it doesn't matter where, it could be here in Lebanon, they're wanting to put an offer in. We have the technology to where they can sign over the internet. We don't have to go to Florida, even though I would travel to Florida for a signature at this point. But we can send it, through the email, and they can sign it. And that's the beauty of all that is you can do it all through internet. And so that's one reason that makes our job a little easier. If we're not in Wilson County, we're in Sevierville County, or we're in some other county in Tennessee. So we cater Wilson County and the surrounding counties, but we also go a little bit further. So we have that listed. So if anybody would like to put an offer in, this weekend is it for you.
All right. And if you need to know more, you can always call 615-443-3130.
That's exactly
and
right.
They'll get to you or Miss Judy or whomever needs to be talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Well, y'all have a great weekend. We'll do it again next Friday. And what do you always say before you leave?
You don't make a move without us.
Miss Judy and Medina, C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty. Don't make a move without us. That's a good place for us to end here. We are 19 minutes before 8 o'clock, and I think my clock is right today. Terrific, Teresa. You going to sit where you are?
I'll stay here till the break, and then I'll jump over. I don't have to watch the clock until
there you go.
The second
round. It was
round,
good to see you. I've seen you several times at lunch, but you're here.
The weather been fabulous?
Well, I tell you what, the Friday that you come is one of the easiest. With you and Senator Pody, my Friday is
you could have stayed home.
It's a piece of cake.
Helen would have pushed you out the door anyway, wouldn't she?
Yeah. But you're looking sharp today. I think you are being sharp, feeling sharp.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It feels good. When you go through some kind of an illness and you all of a sudden really appreciate feeling good. And I know a lot of people that ask, how are you doing? And, I was out of work for 8 weeks, and I'd never dreamed ever in my life that, because, I just don't get sick, but you appreciate feeling good, when you've gone through something like that. So I appreciate every day I feel good. And I appreciate this cup of coffee. This morning, my husband had to go out of town, and he always, he takes all of the coffee with him, and he always starts me a pot of coffee. And I walked in the kitchen, and it was time to go, and I went, dude, I have no coffee. And he put it in there and didn't push the button.
Oh.
And he said, I hope you get a cup of coffee at the radio station for my sake. And I did.
Our coffee's pretty good. I like it.
It is good. Yeah. It's very good. And that's why I just texted him and said, "You're in luck. I got a cup of coffee."
Well, things have been different for almost a year at Lebanon Senior Citizen Center. Teresa, of course, is the program director, among other things. I think that's still your official title.
Yes, it is.
And people are coming over there to get their lunch, including Helen and me, nearly every day.
Yeah.
And that's great. It really is. But
we are so glad to see everybody. You know, we were closed every day last week, couldn't get out, and we definitely wouldn't have wanted people to try to get out anyway. And we missed everybody. We had put on there what lunch would be. You know, we had to kind of revise our lunch schedule, and because the food truck didn't come in last week either.
Oh.
But and they were saying, "Hey, I'll be there Monday," and it was like, "Oh yay, we missed y'all," and we do. You know, I'm such a people person, and I love it when we have huge crowds and we just have a house full. Last month when we did our Valentine's steak dinner, we had over 300 people that picked up lunches that day. I don't know when y'all picked up. Were you out in the road? They were wrapped around the building, and people were out in the road, and we were going.
That was the day.
The steak dinner. We were going as fast as we could. We had the firefighters over there, and I'll talk about Chris Dow and as many bad things as we have to say about Chris Dow because we just have to. We love him. He supports us so much, and you know, Joe and Jason, they're just so good to us. But it was a wild, crazy day, and it was so cold that day, and we were freezing. But I was so glad to see all the people that we got to see. A lot of people that don't come every day, and you know, it makes us really happy when we get to see everybody, and we miss everybody. We just really do.
Well, Patty, of course, is the director, and you are I guess you'd say the number 2 person as program director, whatever.
Right.
But have a good team of people over there.
You know,
support
we do.
people in the office as well as the cooks and the people that get the meals prepared.
You know, you have to really love people to do a job like that. You know, we are trying to keep people happy, and you can never keep everybody happy. And so you just kind of have to roll with whatever. I said, I think I learned, it will be 20 years in October. And I think I learned 19 years ago that I couldn't please everybody. So I would just try to please a few, you know.
Is Squirrely Shirley one of those you can't please?
No, Squirrely Shirley is so easy to please. And we told her we'd talk about her today. Shirley Hackett Carey. Yeah, Shirley is so much fun. And,
she's a good one in spite of what I say about her.
I know, and I love laughter, and our staff you have to have a sense of humor. You know, you just have to make it through a lot of things that we do. But just to hear them laughing, it just makes you feel good, and you like to hear laughter. The crew in the kitchen, I can hear them. Especially Callie, and y'all remember Callie in your prayers, Callie Rhodes. She's been out for a few weeks, and she's having some health problems. Of course, Callie is not a young woman. I'm not a young woman either, but works so hard back there in that kitchen. But sometimes when Callie laughs, I can hear her all the way to my desk, and I love it. Mm-hmm. You know, you just love to hear laughter. I have not been able to do my grief support groups and my Alzheimer's support groups, but one of my gentlemen that his wife had an 8-year journey with dementia. He texted me. She passed away about 2 weeks ago, and he texted me and said, "Can I come by and chat?" And I said, "Yeah, we'll sit outside." So we sat at the picnic table, and we had our little one-on-one support group. And he has had the best attitude. He would come in, and I think we've learned through dealing with being a caregiver of anybody with an illness, but especially Alzheimer's and dementia. You know, we would always just laugh. And you have to look at those stories that could make you really want to cry and just find a little humor. And I said, you know, you've always entertained us, and you've always come in and made us laugh during our caregiver support group. And that was one thing, you know, we might cry together, but when we are walking out the door, I always try to do something really funny or really silly or really goofy. And let's leave here smiling. Mm-hmm. You know, you leave here with your heart smiling. And, you know, so it is. I think you have to have a sense of humor, and you have to roll with whatever punches are thrown at you, that is, I think that's how you make your own happiness. You have to learn how to roll with that. And so we're trying really hard to roll with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's time for us to make MJ happy and go to a break. So
I was talking to Medina and Judy.
we'll be back after this on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:48. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. They have a large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, tractors, hay equipment, and more. Come in Saturday. Free popcorn. Check out the new Kubota products. 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still moving out here on I-40 as we check it out live here coming through Wilson County, Mount Juliet area headed towards Davidson County. They're moving that wreck right now. It's a one-car wreck. It went into the wall backwards, 65 North near Trinity Lane, in the clearing stages of a crash there at Hickory Hollow Parkway at Crossings Boulevard, that's South Nashville. Hey, you never know when you might need these guys. Free at last bell bonds, serving Davidson, Williamson, and Rutherford counties. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hi, everybody. It's springtime football with Cumberland University. I'm Tommy Bryan, and along with Bob Lee, we'll be bringing you all the exciting play-by-play action of Cumberland Phoenix football. Friday's home game features NAIA Power Georgetown at Noakes Lassiter Field. Kickoff at 6 o'clock, pregame at 5:30. All the exciting action of Cumberland University football on WANT and WCOR, Lebanon.
Here comes the sun. Hey, Medina, here comes the sun. Spring is just around the corner.
Call us and we can come over and tell you what your home is worth in this market, and it's free.
Yes, free and no obligation. It's time to get ready for the spring buyers. Inventory is low. We have buyers who need listings.
Here comes the sun. And remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
It's all right.
Gregory Dental in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from University Medical Center. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on a Friday morning. Teresa Botts from the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center. I don't know where we were, but you can pick up and say whatever you want. We got 9.5 minutes.
Coleman and I were actually chatting about the Wilson County Fair. We did have a fair board meeting. My husband and I watched it on Zoom. We did the Zoom instead of driving all the way to the other side of town, and I didn't figure I could hug anybody anyway. That's the fun of going to the fair board meetings is, well, Linda Main is not here, and I always had to sit with Linda and Odell, you know, so. But anyway, we're getting geared up. It's going to be here in August, and we sure missed having the fair last year.
Yes.
And so I'm excited.
Well,
But
the Senior Citizen Center's always involved there a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Senior Day and
yes.
lunch or dinner.
Yeah, I am. I am involved. The Senior Center really doesn't have a part in it, but
okay. Well,
I know.
You've announced it.
Yeah, I do, and I do. You know, it's a passion. The Wilson County Fair is definitely a passion of mine, and I love the Wilson County Fair, and I will talk it up as big as I can. I'm excited. You know, I'm excited that we'll get to have a fair this year, and it'll be great. I know it will.
Well, I bet you're getting calls, and we don't really have an agenda. I just depend on you to fill up the time for the most part, and every once in a while I interrupt you. But you no doubt are getting calls from at least a few people. How much longer is it going to be? When are we going to get to come back and have a meal like we used to?
Yes, that's I will tell you. All right, so we talked about Hamlet Halbert last month. Well, yesterday, Mr. Hamlet drove through. I said, you better turn your radio on and turn it up loud in the morning. He said, I might turn it off. I love him. But, you know, he did. He is such a sweetheart. And, you know, his wife passed away. Well, I can't even keep up with time anymore. But last year, I believe, or the year before. But he said, when am I going to get to sit down and eat with other people again? I'm tired of eating by myself. And it's great that we are providing this meal that they can drive through and pick up. And I'm guilty of taking it home to my mother every day. She did have to put up with my cooking last week, but I had so much fun being snowed in and cooking. But the meal is wonderful and the food is wonderful. And we've always said, lunch is our big draw, but it's not always the food. It's the fellowship that is the big draw. And they miss each other so much. And at least 10 times a day, we get phone calls and we get questions. When are you going to get to reopen? And we just don't know yet. I know one of our local nursing home, assisted living rehab was there, and they said, the governor has approved some in-house visits, but your county has to be below 10%. Wilson County is still at like 13% with the COVID level, and which has decreased by a huge amount since like November and December. I think it was in the 20s in November and December. But we're just kind of following the lead, and it would be so hard, especially the restrictions we're going to have to place. We know that we're probably going to have to limit it to about 100 people a day, and that's going to be hard. And our classrooms, my exercise class right now at the limit that they have will be like 10 people, and I average about 25 or 30. And how do you pick which 10 get to come? And it's going to be hard. We still don't know. The board of directors met, and they want us to be safe, and they want us to at least be able to continue to. We're delivering on our homebound meals about 85 lunches every day. Thank you to our fabulous volunteers who deliver for us and our staff. I go out every day and run down to Saddlebrook and see some of my little ladies. They come down with the shopping cart and they get the lunches, and they take them for me up to the rooms. But
Nice.
yeah, and they're not even recipients of the lunch. It's like they get it a couple of days a week, but we are at least helping meet the nutrition needs of these people. But I want the fellowship too. I promise you, I love the staff, but y'all, I'm getting tired of y'all, and I want my little seniors back in the building. No, like I said, our staff is wonderful, and it is, at least it's a joy to go to work every day.
Well, we just don't know. But if things continue to tail off here,
Right.
the number of people with the COVID goes down, or maybe we don't have any new ones. It wouldn't take too long, I don't think, for things to get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
more like we
hoping
want.
surely, and I say surely, I don't know. I never dreamed we'd be closed this long. I keep thinking surely by early summer that we'll be able to reopen, but I just don't know. We just don't know. We've, and we thought the numbers were going down, and then they spiked back up. I don't know, but we have to do what's safe, and so I don't know. We'll see. But we do have some fun stuff going on, and I do want to tell them about some of our very special guests. Now, if you are on Facebook and you have never gone in and liked the Lebanon Senior Center, you're missing out. But we decided in March that we were going to take every Tuesday afternoon in March at 1:00. And we are going to have several fun guests. And one of our very special guests is yours truly, Coleman Walker. And, Coleman interviews a lot of people. We get to interview Coleman, but I won't embarrass you. It won't be like your roast that you had, where they were mean to you. We would never put you on the spot, kind of like when we do the Newlywed Game. I try to do things that would never put anybody on the spot, do good questions. But for the month of March, on Tuesday afternoons at 1:00, we're going to do Facebook Lives. And you do have to go in and like the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center to be able to see these, I think. I'm not a professional with this, but we are going to have some special guests. So our first Tuesday is March the 2nd, and Lebanon Mayor Rick Bale is going to be our special guest.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what's going on with Lebanon. He actually came last summer, and we interviewed him as the Lebanon city historian and had a ball talking about, reminiscing about things that had happened in Lebanon over all the years. But we're going to be talking and chatting with him. And if you have questions, you should be able to comment there. Or if you've got some questions, call us at the center and tell us some of your questions. We'll write them down, and we might put him on the spot. I don't know. He signs my paycheck, so maybe I won't put him on the spot. And then the next Tuesday, which is March the 9th, Coleman Walker, local morning radio show host, will be with us. And thank you for accepting that invitation, Coleman.
Well, I hope I didn't sign my death warrant.
No, you didn't. I think it'll just be a lot of fun. We've had so much fun with our Facebook Lives. And if you kind of want to know what we do, it's in our video library. Yeah. We've done a lot of funny stuff and a lot of, Patty and I did some goofy songs. We did a Where, Oh, Where Have You All Gone? And we had our overall, I don't know, we've done some goofy stuff. We've done the Wonky Donkey. It's entertaining to look back. Mark Carruth has come out and done a lot of sing-alongs, and one of them we did Sideways.
No.
My phone I turned it up and my phone didn't sync with it, and whatever it does, and it was Sideways, but it's okay. But we're looking forward to Coleman coming out. And if anybody's got questions, we might censor them a little bit. But if you have questions, send them in. Leslie Watkins, who is an extension agent, is going to be coming out on Tuesday, March the 16th, and going to be doing some informative eating healthy, getting active, springtime is coming stuff. One of my favorite people in the world, Lucas Holman, who is the horticulturist. Isn't he great? Yeah. Well, I call him.
That'll be a good one.
Yes, I call him the daylily nerd. He knows all things about daylilies, and but he is great. He lives what he studies and what he preaches. But Lucas will be coming out.
Oh, he has a sense of humor too.
Oh, he does. He's fun. He is so funny. When I asked Leslie and Lucas, they both just jumped on it and said, "Oh yes, we would love to come." Leslie has done a couple of Facebook Lives with us already, but Lucas will be talking about spring gardening, not just. If you're not a vegetable gardener, he has so much knowledge on trees and flowers as well. And then our final, I can't say we saved the best for last, but we love him, Chris Dow.
Oh, no.
Who is our Lebanon fire chief, but also a Wilson County commissioner. Right. He's been with the city of Lebanon over 30 years. And
I've got to see this.
We love Chris. He drove by yesterday. We were out serving lunches. We hollered. He made the loop and came back, and we tortured him a little. He tortured us a little, but Chris has committed to come out that last Tuesday. It'll be so much fun, and we're still serving great lunches. If you want one of our menus, give us a call. You can actually find it on our Facebook page as well. I don't see any reason in the world why, if you're on Facebook, you don't like the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center. If you don't, you're just losing out. So catch us on our fun Facebook Lives on Tuesday afternoon. Come by and pick up a newsletter. If you need anything, we'll do our very best to meet your needs. Can't wait to get open back up, Coleman.
All right, we'll see you next month.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being with us. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Till Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.